1.
Sync.
Cool. Welcome everyone to the 12th episode of the Triple Baka podcast. It's sleepy time.
It's sleepy cast. We're all
But the
sleepy.
show must go on. No, it's actually the 13th episode. Never mind. Don't listen to me. What have you been watching, if anything?
I've watched about 3 episodes of Zabungle, and the latest episode I watched got really, really racist.
Problematic alert.
It had a very not-so-nice representation of some Native American characters. That was very clearly just lifted from, like, Western shows in America. I guess Tomino not realizing that Native Americans are, like, real.
As I've said before, anime makers in the 80s did not realize that anybody outside of Japan was actually real.
Yeah.
And even many within.
And in this case, it just so happened to not age well at all in any way.
What have I been watching? I've been watching Toradora. I've gotten like most of the way through Toradora at this point, and it's like I kind of thought it would be more interesting considering it has stuck around for a really long time. Like I still see people post the girls sometimes. Mm-hmm. I thought it was good. It had a high mouse score, I think.
Yeah.
And it's good. You know, it's like well animated. You know, it has decent production values, but I don't think any of the characters are like particularly endearing. Like none of the characters are like stand out in any way. It's just kind of a good show. It's like when you imagine what a good rom-com looks like in anime form, you imagine Toradora.
Yeah.
And that's really all that I can say about it.
I mean, like, Toradora, is it stand out in Japan? Is it, like, something that people still remember there?
I honestly have no idea.
I know it's mainly a thing over here for the most part, like, in terms of, like, actual otaku caring about it. But,
I guess the thing that makes it stand out to a lot of people is, well, like, beyond the fact that the animation is just good and expressive, like, it kind of has, like, the expressive quality of, like, a KyoAni production, but if the artwork was a little less consistent.
Yeah.
I think the thing that makes it stand out beyond that is just the fact that, like, the tsundere is, like, small now. The tsundere is small, but will punch you and make you die.
Yeah. That's, yeah.
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 I mean, it has I don't give it enough credit. I think it actually has a decently well-developed romance, but, you know, am I really the judge?
No, probably not. Like, I don't know. I think it's probably, like, its main claim to fame was that it came over here at all, during that time period that it was releasing, which was prime bait.
It was more of an otaku-focused show, I think, and, like, the super otaku would just pirate everything already by that time.
Yeah, but, I mean, that's, like, it's popular. You know, people still remember it, probably because of that.
Maybe. You know, back when you could still have a modern classic. But anyway, beyond that, I've been watching more of Joe. I have less than 10 episodes left, I think. I probably forgot to log that on Mal, but, you know, I'm getting pretty close to the end.
Yeah.
And by the end, I mean episode 53. And it's pretty good. You know, I don't regret watching it at all. And I'm really looking forward to season 2 because it kind of feels like there's a lot where it could go from here. But it is like the foundation of, I guess, what became a lot of shonen action in a certain way. It's like really really early basis for, you know, the structure of shonen action, and you can kind of feel it in the fact that there is a lot of filler. And the filler's good. Like, the filler is honestly just as well written as the regular show, when like plot is happening and stuff. But it's like the show didn't have to be this long.
Yeah.
I would like I would like a Ashita no Joe Kai. But that's all I have to say about Ashita no Joe until I get to the end. Because I feel like it'll be more interesting to talk about it once I've actually reached like the relative end.
Yeah. Sayu?
What about you, Sayu?
I still haven't actually watched anything yet, but okay. I made the decision.
Yes.
That instead of watching every moe anime, I've actually changed my goals to every shonen action anime, because that sounds like I'd be way more motivated to actually do that.
More your style.
And we should state that Sayu is not including all like any mecha in there, even though there's a huge overlap in these genres.
Yeah.
At least not most mecha.
There will be at least one exception so far.
Yeah.
with Code Geass, because I want to watch it.
Gurren Lagann?
Oh yeah, that one too. Fuck.
Yeah. Is it Lagann or is it Lagan?
Lagann.
It's
Lagann. Okay.
I do believe so. We can fact check this though if we want to.
Every single person I've ever heard talk about the show flip flops.
I think it's actually Lagan.
Gurren Lagann?
In Nihongo, it is Gurren Lagann. So it is Gurren Lagann.
It's Lagann. Okay. So then, yes, that is the other one.
Now I know all of you Japanese experts in the audience do not correct my pronunciation and enunciation. I know.
All right, that was quick.
Yeah.
Yep. Anime. All right, now on to the real topic.
All right.
Education.
Uh-huh.
Are you guys educated?
I have.
What's your experience as being educated?
I have an associate's.
Oh.
Yeah, I graduated high school. Hold your applause.
I technically graduated high school, barely.
I didn't go to college because I didn't feel like it, and even though there was a lot of pushback, I didn't do it.
I was literally forced to go to college, even though I was literally like, I have no fucking idea what I want to do with my life. I have no concept of what the future of my life should be. I was still forced to sign up for classes and forced to declare a major, which has, in my honest opinion, gone a long way towards ruining my life. Yeah. So,
I
thank
didn't
you,
go
parents.
to college specifically because I didn't know what I would do, and I had this impression in my head. I don't even know if I was right or not. I had this impression that if I went to college without actually knowing what I wanted to do out of college, that I would kind of be like wasting something. Like I feel like
Money.
I would be like, well, yeah, I guess that was it. But I thought like I couldn't do it over.
Oh,
I thought like I had to commit. And so I said, well, I don't want to commit without knowing what I'm committing to, so I just didn't go to college. And I didn't know how to explain that at the time, so I kind of just like vehemently was like, I don't want to go to college. And all my parents and everybody, well, I guess my mom was very vehemently against the idea of me not going to college, but she can't like make me not go to college. So that's how it worked out.
Yeah.
If I get an idea of what I want to do, which honestly I do have at this point, then I would go to college, but I kind of can't go to college because there's viruses.
Yeah. I have literally still no concept of what I want to do with my life. So college is just a massive waste of fucking like money and time.
We'll talk about the distant future plans for our lives, maybe when we all have them, on the future plans episode.
Yeah. My experience with college goes a lot like this. If God tells me to go to hell, I'll simply not go. What's he going to do? Send me to hell? I'm already not going.
Excuse me, I'm gonna open a drink.
So I didn't go to college.
Oh, that didn't make very much sound. I thought that would make a lot of noise.
ASMR cast.
I've been swiftly realizing though pretty recently that I really probably should have taken advantage of the time immediately after high school that I could have gone to college, because
what I did waste was a couple like free years of college.
Okay, wait, Sayu. This is I'm going to do my best to not give away our location in any way, shape, or form. However, I'm assuming you wanted to go. Well, I'm assuming you can leave this in if you want. I won't give any information. I'm assuming you wanted to go to college for like computer programming and stuff.
Yeah, for computer science.
The local college, in terms of computer science, is one of the absolute worst education programs I have been in my entire life.
Huh?
It is worse than like my middle school experience.
Here's the thing: is I would really personally interested in learning how to program.
That school will not help you.
I wanted it for the degree so I could get a job with it. That was basically it.
Within the field of computer science, they generally don't care a whole lot about the degree unless it's like some out-of-touch company.
If you can demonstrate what you can do, like you have a decent lineup of like things that you've done,
yeah,
and you have the skills,
it's all about
like you can prove that you have general knowledge, then they don't care.
It's all about the portfolio.
Well, depends on what position you're going in for,
yeah.
But like generally, if you can get any position at all, then the experience will matter more.
Mm-hmm. No, I guess I can tell about like what that was like. Because my first 2 years in college, I spent 4 years at a community college. My first 2 years was like my mother was like, "What are you going to college for?" And I was like, "I don't know." Like, I had told her that like multiple times. She was like, "No, What are you going to college for? You have to declare a major." And I was like, "I guess computer science? I guess." And then, like, it was, like, forever before the school made me take, like, an actual computer science class in, like, their curriculum they set up for me. Yeah. And it was, like, literally, like, almost a full year before I had to take a computer science class. And when I did have to take a computer science class, it was with this guy. I won't say his name. We'll call him, we'll call him Jack, I guess. This guy, Jack, he was one of 3 full-time, computer science instructors at this school, and it was him, and then there was another professor,
I'm gonna turn off my fan. Give me a sec.
Oh, okay. There was like another guy who like ran the department, and then there was like a really old woman. I don't know what this like 70-year-old woman was doing teaching computer science. She seemed to generally know what she was doing. It was just kind of like weird. Because
old people don't know computers.
I was like I talked to like my parents about this woman, and they were like, "Oh, I know her. She was like a dance coach." So I guess she just knew computer science like as like a weird background thing that like wasn't something she was like doing, I guess. I don't know. It was bizarre. Anyways, the main person was Jack. I made it really far into computer science courses, and it's important to note that like I didn't enjoy any of these classes at all. Yeah. I don't like working with computers. Unless it's like word processing or like, that shit. when it comes to programming, it's like a horrible, frustrating, anxiety-inducing experience for me, where every single thing feels like a fucking nightmare, and I don't enjoy doing it at all. And
I'm like the opposite.
I was just like being dragged through it. Like just forced to fucking do it like every term. And I eventually end up in a class with this Jack guy. And this Jack guy started doing something that I think he called like a reverse classroom. And the idea behind a reverse classroom is that you do the learning at home and then you do your classwork or your homework in class.
Huh.
This makes no sense and is undeniably the worst way to teach anybody anything. What was I paying for? Could someone like educate me on that? Could someone tell me what it was I was paying for to go to that class?
Degree.
Yeah.
It was literally just the credits. I wasn't getting any instruction. He didn't teach anybody fucking anything at all. He just sort of sat there on his computer fiddling with whatever he was doing. Most of the time it was fucking Reddit. And whenever someone did ask him a question, he was like, "All right, let's do an in-class example." And he threw it up on the screen, and he would be like, "And this is how you do this. It's really simple and easy." And then he'd get an error, and he'd be like, "Oh, oops, let's figure this out." And then he'd stare at it for like 10 minutes, and he'd be like, "Oh, wait, so that's the problem." And then he'd change it and be like, "All right, here's how it works." And then he'd get another error. And this would
computer science.
This would be the whole class period. Like, I was learning nothing. Just absolutely fucking nothing.
I've always felt like I'm not like a super computer focused guy. Like I have more technical knowledge than somebody who has absolutely no interest in computer technical knowledge at all would have.
Yeah.
But like I've never been interested in actually like pursuing anything like that outside of like this vague idea I have that I should learn to program because I have all these like ideas for small proof of concept games and stuff that I want to make for VR.
Yeah.
But I feel like if like gun to my head, you know, like I'm forced to go to college, what are you going to college for right now? The easiest like non-committal answer would be like something computer science, because I don't get bothered working with computers like at all. Like when something goes wrong almost in any area of like working with computers, be it like trying to compile some program or like I'm new to Linux and I don't know how it works yet, or like just getting errors on stuff, random glitches, or like having to like reorganize a bunch of files for some reason. I can spend literally all day on that shit. I don't give a fuck.
Dude, literally same.
Like, I honestly like it. Like, when there's just, like, a thing in front of me and there's, like, a specific solution that I don't know how to reach, but, like, I know that when I reach the solution, it'll be like, I've solved it, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I could do that literally all day.
Shit like that, like, programming is, like, one of the few things that I can, like, be constantly fucking failing at, and I won't, like, ever actually feel, like, upset about it. Because, like, there's always, like, a sense of progress, as long as I at least fix one of the errors.
No.
So, like, I think the best, like, job for me, if I, like, totally was super blown at the fuck out on, like, any ideas of, like, doing art for a job in any way, the options would either be, like, become, like, a teacher of some sort, or some sort of, like, computer job.
Yeah.
Like, is there, like, data entry jobs? Can I do that for a job?
That is literally a type of job, yeah.
That is literally a job. Yeah, you can do that if you want.
Okay, because I could do that shit. I love that shit.
Absolutely not. I think I would actually, like, die if I were placed in that situation. But yeah, after I took classes with this guy, Jack, after I took two classes with him that went exactly the same, I reported him to the dean of students because I was like, this is not an acceptable way to run a classroom.
Yeah.
At all, and also he didn't show up half the time. And I was sat down with the dean of students, like the person who runs this entire fucking school. And they looked me dead in the eyes and said, actually, he's allowed to do that. And that blackpilled me instantly. I instantly was like, college is a fucking scam. Which is ultimately my stance on it. Fuck college. Fuck school. Fuck everything to do with it. I want nothing to do with any of these goddamn institutions ever again in my entire life.
Oh yeah, that was another reason I didn't go to college, is because I was part of the AVID program. Is that like a region-specific thing? Is that gonna dox me?
I don't actually know.
I'm pretty sure it's nationwide at this point.
Fucking... I mean, it's like state-specific, as far as I can tell.
People can know what state I live in.
I don't care if people know what state I live in at all. I've left enough weirdo clues about that, but...
I mean, I've literally said what city I live in.
Wait, no, it's everywhere.
It's everywhere. The headquarters is in California.
Okay, alright. Well, because, like, back when AVID was, like, sort of a new thing, I don't know how new it was, I don't know, I might be wrong, maybe it was established at this point. But when AVID came to town, I was just going in to ninth grade, and I could sign up for AVID, and AVID was like, get you into college, you know, like, get you ready for going to college. It'll get you 99% of students who go to AVID get into college, you know? And so I signed up for AVID, you know, I was going to be one of the first AVID class attendees in the school that I went to. And it was the worst thing I've ever experienced, and every single, like, interaction with it that I had, I can't remember all of the specifics, but I just knew that it, like, wasn't helping anybody, and whenever, like, a student was failing, like, they weren't, you know, on the path to going to college, they would just kick them out.
Yeah.
Like, they wouldn't actually, like, get them ready for college. They would just be like, oh, you're not going to college, so you get kicked out. Because you'll bring the fucking stats down, you know? Like, if you keep failing and you're not going to college, then that means you're gonna bring the stat down. It wasn't, like, about anything. It wasn't about teaching anybody anything. Like, all you would do in AVID is, like, they would force you to take notes in a very specific way. Like, you weren't allowed to take notes in any other class anymore in normal ways. You had to do it a very specific way. And if you weren't taking, like, enough notes, you know, like, then they're like, oh, you're not on the path to going to college, and they would kick you out. And then when we weren't being reviewed on, like, how organized our binders were, and keep in mind, we couldn't have our own organization systems. It had to be a very specific organization system that, by the way, only worked with some binders.
Yeah.
Like, there were students who came to class and they were like, you gotta organize your binder this specific way. And they're like, my binder isn't... It's not like that. And they were like, well, you gotta buy a new binder right now or you're not going to college and we'll kick you out. And there was this is where I used my power. I was such like a fucking annoying kid in high school, especially early on.
Yeah.
Where, like, I really wanted to prove something, you know, even though proving anything ultimately did nothing.
Yeah.
I would use the time when we were in these like little mini seminar groups where like occasionally every couple days, the AVID class would be every student like gets into a little group, and in that group you bring up like a trouble you're having in some class and you make it on the whiteboard and you talk about it in a very specific way. I realized that I slowly started pushing more and more, like, what I could get away with bringing up as, like, the issue I'm having. Until eventually, like, my seminars were about how Avid itself is completely unhelpful, and I would try and like break down logically step by step on the whiteboard how Avid is not helping anybody and how it's a completely useless program. And when I got this is when I got blackpilled, is before they told me to stop. I at some point ended up writing out this really, really solid case, including ways in which the program could be improved to actually become helpful to people. And the teacher was like, you know what? This is actually pretty good info. And so he took a picture of it and he told me, like, I'm going to send this to the principal or whatever, you know, the boys up top. And nothing ever happened with that. And the response came back just like, we can't do anything, lol. And I continued to criticize every part of this program basically for like the rest of the year at every opportunity. And at some point the teacher was just like, I know, you're right. I can't do anything about it. Just shut up.
Real quick for the editor, there was a dead name right there.
Oh, yeah. I mean, again, my name's on the internet, but I'll write it down in the timestamp.
Yeah. Holy shit. Okay, what you said about, like, the Avid program and how, oh, you're not going to college, get out! That's literally what my high school did as a whole.
Yeah.
If someone was like lagging and consistently falling behind in their stuff, we have like a couple different high schools here in town, and if you were falling behind and not doing great in one high school, like the one that I went to, they just kicked you out and sent you to the other one.
That's what mine did too. To me, that's why I barely graduated.
Yeah, they sent you to like the other one.
Yeah.
It's like the more specific one. And I'm going to be honest, from everything I've heard, that one sounded better than the other two.
Oh my god, it was so much better.
Like it's so much nicer.
I mean, okay, I'm cutting this out. What are you talking about?
Sense.
Yeah, that one.
Oh, okay.
The one I went to. Yeah.
I didn't know anything about it.
It had smaller classroom sizes. The teachers actually gave a shit about like everything.
Yeah.
And like
smaller classroom sizes, there it is.
Yeah, that was the big thing. Fucking what else? What else was like way better about it? Oh, they actually counted all the credits I got.
Yeah.
My original high school that I got kicked out of just like didn't count like a bunch of my credits that would have led to me not graduating had my new high school not caught it.
Yeah. No, I remember that happening. You were just like, it looks like I'm not going to graduate. And I was like, how? Like,
yeah,
and you were like, I don't know. I did everything they told me.
For the record, I only stayed in Avid for 1 year.
Yeah.
And honestly, like, I'm kind of like digging up memories now that it's been brought up. Like, I haven't thought about this stuff in so long. I am confident in saying that if I didn't attend Avid, I would have been more likely to go to college.
Yeah.
College is a waste of time. They did you a favor.
Because it's like, if this is like what college is like, structurally, like functionally, then like why would I even do that?
I feel like college is like actually useful if you want to be there. In the slightest.
The problem
if you have a very solid idea of why you're there and you know how to make the most of it, then yes, it's actually helpful.
I think no, I don't even think you need like a solid idea of like why you're there, because they'll help you like achieve that in some way.
No,
they like literally have programs for people who don't know.
Speaking from experience, those programs are fucking worthless. They don't help you do shit. That my time in college was a massive waste of time, and I got no help from fucking any of the staff, any of the administration, at all. Ever. In fact, the only thing I got from them was a million roadblocks. When I was going to be able to graduate and finally get my associates, they just added more classes I had to take. I had to
You
go
went
for a
to
full
you
other
went to
term.
like the cheapo like public college, or did you go to like a real college?
I went to the cheapo public one.
You went to
Because I hear if you
one.
go to something like OSU or something, I hear it's actually great.
None of
Wait,
that.
no, we're allowed to know the state.
It's the state, bro.
It's the state. It's the whole state.
It's the whole state.
All
They
right,
service
fine.
the whole state.
And also, we
Anyways.
don't even live in that city. I'm like anti-doxing us. I'll eventually say we don't live in every city except for the one that we do.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I did actually like try to go for a term at OSU, and it was just one of the worst experiences I've had ever.
Yeah.
They
Really.
like, to take any classes at OSU, you need to have an orientation. And at this orientation, they tell you, literally tell you, that all of their fucking programs are basically full, that, like, they are basically, like, overwhelmed with students at all times. You need to sign up for classes, like, 4 months in advance before you even know how you're doing in the classes in the previous term. To sign up for classes at all, you need to talk to an advisor to get a login key to be able to sign up for classes in any way, and there are not that many advisors, so you need to make an appointment for them, which if you're working while you're going to school, good fucking luck. I was working, by the way. And then they tell you that if you start doing poorly, and poorly to them is you're earning some Bs, you get kicked out of your program completely.
Okay.
OSU is dog shit.
Well, I'll take your word for it.
Literally, like, all of my
I'm
experiences...
down to jump on the all school bad meme.
All school bad, except I don't...
School bad.
Like, before college, I don't really care. College itself, I don't have an issue with higher education.
I had a lot of criticisms of every school that I attended when I was attending.
Yeah, the issue is the way that college, in and of itself, is just set up. Colleges are literally marketed on exclusivity. Why? What purpose does that serve? Who does that help?
You're special, boy, if you go to it.
I guess. Like, oh my god, I fucking hate college, dude.
College.
I think it's like
every
I think it
problem
serves
with college
a purpose.
would be solved if it was free.
Not
not
every problem. But,
Not every
you know,
problem.
not
It's
You know
still...
what? The regret value would be much lower.
College is
Yeah.
like a bureaucratic nightmare. Like, every single... Like, okay, to graduate from a college, you need to fulfill certain credits.
Yeah.
Not only is there this really dumb system in place where if you get too many credits, you get completely cut off from financial aid for some godforsaken reason. There's also a problem where every year, they redraft what you need in order to graduate from a program. That changes yearly. Meaning, if you're, like, there for for your first year, suddenly one of your classes might just have become useless.
Yeah.
Or you'll suddenly need, like, 4 extras and you'll have to go for another term past when you were supposed to graduate. Which is what happened to me twice, by the way. It's just, like, bullshit. It's just a horrible, bureaucratic nightmare that they just don't want anybody succeeding without giving them $1 million, you know?
Yeah.
And also, the class loads. The whole 2 years for an associate's, 4 years for a bachelor, and then so on and so forth.
Yeah.
It's a lie, don't believe them.
Yeah.
Those are based off of taking a, like, seriously unhealthy amount of credits per year. I'm talking, like, 15 credit hours, which is 15 hours a week spent in class, which, if you actually follow what they tell you to do, means that you spend the rest of time out of class studying.
If you're going full time, like 40 hours a week in class, how fast do you get the credit? How fast do you get the degree?
You actually can't go that many hours. There's not enough time slots.
I'll go 50 a I'm gonna get my, like, what's the 8-year degree? I'm gonna get that one in, like, a year.
Doctorate. Let's go. Doctorate speedrun any percent.
24 hours a day.
Can you go to
class.
more than one college at the same time?
Yes, actually. No, like, I don't know. I fucking hate college. You know, here's a fun one. Let's lighten it a little bit. And so, does anyone have any, like, stories of when they were in school and, like,
I mean, I've been thinking of lots
absurd
of things.
shit happening?
I mean, there's I can think of lots of dumb things that I did.
I'm talking dumb things that, like, teachers did to you.
Oh,
Like,
I can't remember. I don't know. There's this one thing I'm thinking of that I'll always remember that I did in school is, like, I was definitely, like, more notably how should I say it? I definitely appeared to be more on the spectrum than I do these days. I remember, like, at some point, I don't know what happened, but at some point in, like, one of my classes, like, I started saying things about prom, and I started trying to, like, convince people that, like, prom was, like, sort of just, like, this giant, like, scam that, like, preys on the insecurities of high schoolers, that, like, doesn't benefit anybody's lives, and also just is, like, a way of, like, money extraction from people. And somebody said, "You don't have a girlfriend." I'm like, "I don't." And then everyone laughed.
You got fucking
literally the entire class didn't clap, but they were doing it in spirit. But against me, I was the bad guy. And that's so funny.
That is really funny.
I never felt ashamed of that. There were so many things that happened in school where, like, I would think about them and I'd cringe, you know, I'd be like, "Oh God, why did I do that?" But whenever I think of that one, I'm just like, that was so funny.
I don't, like...
I have, like, there were, like, a lot of things in school that I would be, like, one of those kids who just, like, wouldn't participate in out of just, like, staunch, like, fucking, like, stubborn apathy.
Yeah.
Towards school. Like,
yeah.
I remember there was this one class, I think I was in this with you, Nyuu.
Yeah.
And, there were, like, this discussion where we like changed where like they had us, like, all sit in the middle of the room, and we changed to the side of the room that we agree with, as, like, people make their cases for, like, an argument.
Yeah.
And I remember I sat in the one of them at complete random, and I did not move the entire time, and I did not listen intentionally. Even though there was no grade for participating or not participating or anything, it was just a thing we were doing. I didn't do anything else. I had nothing else to be doing other than that. But I didn't participate to make a statement.
That reminds me of this dude I encountered in high school. We were in fucking, it was a social studies class. I think it was history. I don't even remember.
Yeah.
And I was like, we were doing group projects, right? And the dude that I got paired with, like, everyone had 3 people. I had 2. I had me and this other guy. What's like a good code name for him? I'll call him Brad. He's a very Brad individual. Really, really, like airheaded.
Yeah.
You ever Mean Girls? Karen Winters, like her, but guy.
Yeah.
That's who I was partnered with. And I had to do this whole fucking group project by myself. And, like, this fucking interaction always sticks out in my head. Because, like, 2 years later, it was, like, senior year. And I encounter Brad again. And he looks at me, he's like, "Oh, I remember you." And I was like, "You do?" And he was like, "Yeah, you were in the history class with me. You didn't do anything in that class." And I was like, okay, Brad, yeah, sure.
You know, there's another story I remember of just like strange things that I did in school. And I always like telling this one because I'm very egotistical and it makes me feel good about myself. But I would frequently be drawing in class because drawing was something that you could do in any class because they would always sit you down, you know, with a pencil and you got your notebook. And often they would tell you to take notes. And if you're drawing, then, you know, from a distance, it kind of looks like you're taking notes.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I would just draw through every class I possibly could. Like, a lot of the reason why I started accelerating, like, my art skills so quickly back in, like, 2016 to 2017 was mostly just the fact that I was drawing, like, through literally every single class every single day.
Yeah.
But this habit of mine, this tendency, got on the nerves of most teachers because, you know, if you just draw throughout literally the whole class, then eventually they're going to see that you're doing that. And they're going to be like, you gotta stop drawing, fucking pay attention, you idiot. And all but except for a very select few teachers would eventually just stop telling me to stop drawing in class because I wouldn't stop drawing in class.
Fucking base.
Most teachers would eventually just, like, see that I passed the tests and they wouldn't make me not draw in class anymore.
The Chad student defeats the virgin teachers.
Though the few teachers that didn't give up, you know, they really owned me in the end because I got detention a lot.
Oh.
Yeah. Which was another period for drawing.
Exactly.
Yeah, dude.
I know I got sent to detention once for saying that I would kill myself. That was another funny thing.
Oh, we can't have you saying that. Go to detention. What? Therapy? What? No, punishment. Oh God. Oh my God, no, I remember it now. Okay, so there was this substitute teacher at my high school.
Yeah.
Nobody knew his name. He demanded that everybody called him Mr. Sir. I think he served, like, a large number of teachers or something. He was just around, though, and he was, like, super old. Like, like 80, probably.
Huh.
And he was just, like, I'm honestly... Forget everything I've ever said. I would rather have a class with that fucking college teacher than this guy. He never taught anything. The only thing he would do is he would read roll until he hit a name that wasn't normal, right?
Yeah.
So there was like fucking Final Fantasy. I'll pull a name out of fucking Final Fantasy. Someone's a fucking like FF fan and they named their daughter Ishtola, you know?
Yeah.
All her friends call her Stola. And like he would get to her on the list and he'd be like, Ishtala? That's not a name. This isn't a name. Who are your parents? I remember back in my day, they would name girls Elizabeth. Good biblical names. And he would just, like, go off like that for, like, 15 minutes. And then he would show a video, and that was class. And if you, like, looked at anything that wasn't the video, he would yell at you. It was, like, classes with him were, like, endurance tests.
I remember, extending from something I said before, even though the reason that at least I interpreted as, like, you know, why a lot of teachers eventually ended up conceding and just accepted that I would draw in class is because I would do well on the tests. Like,
Yeah.
teachers would eventually realize, like, yeah, all right, this guy's got it. But I never did homework.
Homework is something that that shouldn't be a thing. I'm infirm.
I would
I'm-
argue with several teachers. In case anybody isn't getting the picture by now, I argued a lot in school about
Yeah.
the way that school worked. But I would argue with teachers that I'm placing 90% or above on literally every single test that I take. Why do I have to do the homework? Why are you making me do the homework when I get it?
School is so inefficient. It is insane.
Yeah.
It was kind of, this is another thing that I like to brag about, is that I always consistently exceeded on every single state test I took, and I normally exceeded by quite a bit. I'm pretty sure that for the mathematics in 8th grade, I ended up placing second highest in the school for the mathematics, and I ended up going to a thing and taking a picture, and I hated being there so much. I didn't at the time, I didn't want to be recognized as a smart person, so I was like, why am I fucking taking a picture? Stop bringing attention to me. But despite this, I still didn't end up getting good grades, and I barely graduated just because I never did homework.
Homework is worthless.
Oh yeah, homework is pretty much entirely worthless. I think it's a good thing to give, but it shouldn't be a part of your grade, honestly.
At some point, I distinctly remember kind of feeling I shouldn't do the homework to prove a point. Because I would always do well in the test. As long as I was doing well in the test, then my point will be proven that if the homework makes me not pass, then it's unjust. I became Jesus, but nobody ever actually cared, and nothing happened, and that was this really, really stupid line of thinking.
Yeah.
Oh my god. No, here's the thing, right? School is stupidly rigid when it comes to, people who learn differently.
Yeah.
With school, as you were describing earlier, you had to sit there and you had to take notes. You weren't allowed to just listen. You weren't allowed to, at least in my school anyways, you weren't allowed to record the teacher's lectures for, playback later. You can in college. They allow that in college. But in, anything below that, they're no, put your devices away. They're worthless. They don't help you.
Yeah.
When, what if you're an auditory learner? Taking notes isn't going to help you. Listening to the lecture again is going to help you.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's... the way school is set up, it's, stupidly rigid with how you learn, so that there are people that just inevitably, float to the top, you know? Yeah. And then there's all these people left at the bottom that are,
well, it's not.
They
it's
just
not that
need a little...
It's not that people.
They need
float
extra...
Sorry.
They just need, extra help, you know?
Yeah.
They just need a less rigid schooling system, and these people would actually succeed.
Yeah, I don't think it's, necessarily that people float to the top. It's just that a lot of people are, left at the bottom because...
I guess, yeah.
I said earlier that I barely graduated, but that's actually not true. What's the graduation for GPA? You need a 3, you need a 2.5?
I don't think there's a GPA requirement. It was just credits.
Okay, because I ended up getting, I think, a pretty solid 3.0, but that just felt like failing, because everybody would always tell me, you should have a 4.0.
Oh my god.
Dude,
Don't even fucking get me started.
Dude, I got a fucking 1.5, dude.
Damn.
Holy shit, the Giga Chad.
It's like golf.
Real quick, Sayu, I just wanted to say real quick, they were rising to the top because they were elevated by the school constantly. They were given special awards at ceremonies all the fucking time. They were the ones that had the special privileges to do extra things, you know?
Yeah.
I see. Yeah.
It was exceedingly unfair. Also, I lived live still in a household where straight A's is the fucking requirement, and if I get anything below that, they're disappointed in me.
No, for me it wasn't that they like you need to get straight A's, because like with my older brother it wasn't like that. With my younger brother it's also not like that. For me it was like, because of my state test scores and the scores that I would get on tests, they would be like, you should be able to sit down and just do the homework in like 5 minutes every day. Like, you should have straight A's. There's no excuse for you to not have straight A's, because I know you're capable of it. And it was the disappointment of realizing that I have no motivation or care for what my grades like actually were, outside of the fact that I would graduate.
Yeah. Based. No, like, I remember this one year I got like a single B, right?
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't like the most strict ever, you know? But that one year they were like really laying it on thick that like if I didn't get straight A's, I was like in trouble.
Yeah.
And like I got 1B, and I talked to the teacher of that class, and I was like, "Look, I just need to raise my grade just by like 2%. I just need, can you do that for me? Can you give me some extra credit?" And they were like, "Look, you have the highest grade in the class. I can't do anything for you." And I was like, "Oh, please, I swear to God." And like I told like my mother that I was like, "I literally am at the top of this one class." And she was like, "I don't care how other people are doing." And I was like, Jesus Christ.
I guess a lot of the expectations and like how people used to say I have a lot of potential is a lot of the reason why I feel like I've literally gotten dumber. Because I don't perform as well in life as I did in school.
School is probably the worst measurement for how someone will actually do in real life.
Everything is the worst measurement. No one succeeds anymore.
It is the world's most unreliable metric, no matter how you try to do it.
There's like, speaking of how I am now compared to how I was in school, like, I never wanted to be recognized very much in school, even though there was a lot to be recognized for, and now I feel like I'm basically like a failure, and I take so much more pride in the accomplishments I had in school. Like, I used to not like brag about like my test scores or anything. I used to like, just be like, I would act really smart, like I would try and get people to think I'm smart, but I would always say that I'm actually stupid, and I would like argue with people like why I was not more smart than them. And by winning the argument, it was kind of like a weird dynamic I had going on, but but now I'm just like, yeah, I used to be a genius, bro, even though I'm like living with my parents still and I can't hold a job. I used to be a genius and I'm not anymore for reasons unknown.
I have a stupid ability to hold a job. Like, I will be self-destructing, and someone will be like, "Why don't you quit that job?" And I'll be like,
"No.
Quit?
Not an option." That's my problem, is, like, I feel like I handle jobs pretty well, but to me it's like, yeah, of course I can quit the job, so, there I go. Like, I'm...
Yeah.
I would rather not be doing the job. I'm at the job. I'm not happy. I quit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even though, like I feel like I handle jobs that suck better than a lot of people that I know.
I feel like I could definitely handle a job at this point. It's just every job I've had has been either temporary or ended because of things beyond my control.
I don't know. I'm like, every long-term, non-temporary job that I've worked has made me want to commit the suicide. So,
Sudoku.
Yeah, the Sudoku. Like every single one of them, and it was like shocking how little the people in my life seemed to care about that fact.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was weird.
Sweat droopy.
Yeah. Who could you be talking about? God, we'll have to do a group lore episode.
Yeah, we do need, like, the big backstory episode. We have already covered a lot of it, though.
A good chunk of it, yeah. We'll need a code name for you-know-who. We'll call her Voldemort.
It was Baltimore. That was the historical nickname, was Baltimore.
Yeah. She'll still get the nickname of She Who Shall Not Be Named. There you go, you guys. That's your teaser for the upcoming group lore episode, where we go into detail about this fucking person.
Airing of past grievances.
Oh God! The airing of grievances episode is the episode where one of us leaves the cast. It's just like a really intense group therapy session that we have uploaded to YouTube for some reason.
Yeah,
we gotta get Dr. K in on this shit.
No, in the future, you know, when I'm totally just like, I guess I'm already down to say basically literally anything on this channel.
Yeah.
But my other channels are followed by my art fan base, but not this one. And I live in fear of them because I'm financially reliant on them.
There's your mistake.
And if not financially reliant, it's that, like, if I say something wrong and somebody wants to cancel a commission just because they don't like me anymore or something, I am financially unable to refund them.
About that.
But in the future, then, you know, the gloves are off.
Yeah. I guess school, is there, like, any, like, I'm trying to think of, like, more stories from that time period.
There's another, like, half brag, half I was retarded thing I can say. And I do like telling this one just because I think it's interesting. I just think it's like a weird showcase of my behavior. Because I drew through every class, and because I would kind of give teachers a hard time about it, everybody knew that I drew a lot.
Yeah.
And because I was pretty good for my age, you know, people used to always be like, damn, like, when I posted my art online, people would be like, shit, I had no idea that you were literally underage banned because your art's so good. People in my classes, whenever they would catch a glimpse of my artwork, they would be like, shit, this guy's pretty fucking good. Except the moment I realized somebody was looking, I would just crumple up the piece of paper and then throw it away. And sometimes I would notice that, like, people would look at it anyway, just because I built, like, this reputation of being secretive about my artwork.
Yeah.
And so I stopped throwing it away, and then I would just, like, put it in my thing. So people knew that I was secretive about my artwork, and I never kept any of it, because I would always throw it away. Like, I didn't want to see my own artwork. I liked the process of drawing, because it passed time, but I didn't like seeing my art, you know? And I would kind of, like, eventually developed, like, this meditative mode that I would enter while I was drawing, so I didn't criticize my art while I was making it, and the moment that it was, like, done, I would be like, it's shit, and then I would throw it away.
Yeah.
So I never saved any of my artwork, but because of this, by the time that it was, you know, graduation time, the yearbook, you know, had all those, like, best this, best that categories, and there were there was, like, 2 other people that were going around being like, here's my artwork, you should vote for me, like, most artistic, stuff like that. And I ended up actually placing there. I forget if I was, like, most artistic or if they had multiple categories, but I'm pretty sure what ended up happening was I was most artistic because everybody knew that I was good at drawing, and everybody knew that I was drawing because, like, I was kind of infamous about it. But when they were like, all right, we're going to take a yearbook photo with you because you're most artistic, I had literally no drawings to show, and I was like, I don't want to be in the yearbook. So my name is written underneath most artistic, It's like some other person, and it just says not pictured, and then like my name. So I could have like been like, I'm so good at drawing. Look at my epic art, and then been in the yearbook.
That's when you pull out the speed Luigi, dude.
No, and I just didn't even want to be in. I because at the time I remember I talked with you about this. I don't remember if you like. I don't know if you would remember, but I remember like at some point getting into this weird thing where I would argue with people that even though I draw a lot, I am not an artist. I didn't consider myself an artist.
Yeah.
I guess because I didn't think about art. Oh yeah, no, I remember why. It's because people would always tell me that art was about like reactions and sending a message, and all of my art was, like I said, like sort of like a meditative process for me, where I would just like think of things and then try and put them on the page, and then once it's done I would just be done with it, and I didn't even want people to look at it. So like the messaging that I was getting from like everybody in my life is like, art's about reactions, you know, art is only art because people react to it. And I was like, okay, well, I don't make art because I don't want anybody to see this shit.
This fucking gatekeeping attitude towards what isn't art
God.
is dumb. All right.
No,
so I just said I'm not an artist.
We can't talk about Nyuu as an artist without talking about the event. This happened while we were in school. It was not like at school though, so it's tangentially related. Basically, Undertale.
Yeah, I'm very so let's set the stage here. These days, I am very, very open about the fact that I draw fetishistic artwork. You know, I've talked about it on here before, and even in retrospect, the other day when we went to the arcade, it's kind of shocking in retrospect how completely unfazed I was to just be like, yeah, I do fetish art.
Yeah.
Like I'm very open about it. But back in the day, I was a very, very secretive, scared boy who didn't want anybody to know anything about me.
Yeah.
Like, not even just that, I was just like genuinely a very anxious person to let anybody know anything about me, which probably contributed to why I didn't want people to see my art. But Undertale came out, and this was back in like the cringe days, you know, when people would watch like cringe comps, you know, and be like look at this cringe, you know, and they would point at it. So you know, Samael, also known as Butter Dragon, also known as So Sorry in Undertale, epic secret that everybody loves and is universally praised and nobody has an issue with at all. At this time, I knew who Samael was, you know, because I was in that community, you know, and so I knew that there was some prime cringe, you know, because he drew the art that I drew.
Yeah.
And so, you know, when we were talking about cringe one day, I brought up like, dude, look at the artwork. I forget how we exactly got there.
But it was like, I know how this happened. I know how this went down. You were like, dude, Samael is drawing other people's OCs in the Undertale style.
Oh yeah.
And it's so cringe. You sent us a link to the Samael page.
Oh my god.
And it was you, me, Sayu, and then our friend at the time, Josh.
Yeah.
You know, I am the one who has been segmented from this person.
Still my
friend. So they were like, I clicked the link first, and I said out loud, oh, it needs an account to view this page. And it didn't click in my head that, like, you were looking at the page. It just, like, I was just like, oh, I guess I'll make a burner. This was on
Fur Affinity, you know,
it was on
explicitly furry website.
Yeah. And I was just like, oh, it needs, like, an account to view this page. And then the call was silent for a second. I hear Josh go, you?
You got something to say? And I distinctly remember that my response was like, I nervously like crushed the numbers, ran the calculations, like quick maths, like what can I say? And I eventually was just like, you got me.
God.
And at first people didn't think I was serious because I've said you got me before, but I couldn't come up with anything to say, so I eventually just admitted to being a cringe furry.
And
then,
none of us...
because I realized that people thought it was funny instead of disliking me for some arbitrary reason, then I slowly warmed up to the fact that people can know everything about me. And then we went through this whole weird phase of talking about our fetishes to each other.
Yeah.
And it was great. It was fun.
That was a very odd phase.
I'm gonna stop the story right there because it gets really fucking complicated once Baltimore enters the stage.
Oh my god. Baltimore's part of the group lore episode. Discussion of She Who Shall Not Be Named is limited to that episode. We are not to discuss her.
I don't want to do the group lore episode.
And also, you know what? He Who Shall Not Be Named. Him too? Save it. These two are too much of a story to only give people bits and pieces.
I don't want to do the group lore episode at all.
Do you not want it to exist, or do you just not want to be there?
I don't want to. every. I know I didn't play many parts, but every part I did play was really cringe.
I don't remember what parts
fine.
you played.
You were fine.
I mostly like, because I'm an unapologetic egotist, I only remember what happened to me.
The way I was figuring it was we would all tell the stuff from our own perspective.
Yeah.
I see.
Including the lead up to the fallout, which happened a while ago. Which, that'll be an interesting...
I kind of wish I had a much better memory, because it was kind of like a really strange evolution, like, the unfolding drama.
The endless drama leading up to the fallout was something else.
Oh wait, I forgot, you didn't go to the same high school as us. This is totally unrelated, but, Sayu, do you remember when, like,
Cut this all out. Alright, we're done discussing where we live. We're back. We're back.
Yeah,
we're back.
I have the timestamp for the beginning and end written down.
Good.
I'm starting to write down the timestamp so I can just edit these things literally, like, immediately after we record them.
Yeah. Anyone have any other school stories they'd like to share? Oh, I do have one.
I'm pretty sure all of mine are still in the same vein as what I said earlier of me just being stubbornly apathetic.
I had a teacher in college he was a biology teacher. But he would spend the beginning of class for 15 minutes every single day screaming about endocrine disruptors and how they are, and I quote, emasculating our men and giving our women cancer.
What?
He spent every class period talking about this for at least 15 minutes.
What subject was this?
Biology.
Dude, being in high school during the 2016 election was so good.
I regret knowing about politics back then.
I regret being present for the 2016 election.
Yeah.
No, like, I had a contemporary history class in the height of when that was going down. You know what? It was so good.
I was in a government class when that was going down, and my teacher was like, "Look, I'm gonna level with all of you. I really don't think there's a chance, as funny as he is, I don't think there's a chance that Donald Trump will get the nomination."
My fucking psychology teacher was saying, like, the exact same thing, and, like, yeah, it was fucking wild that it happened. I'm honestly, one of the things I'm most grateful for, even though it wouldn't have really made a difference, is that I wasn't old enough to vote in 2016.
Here's the sad part. I was old enough to vote, but not during the primaries.
Really? During this time, I didn't even, like, consider that politics was, like real. Like, obviously, I knew it was real, but, like, the thought never crossed my mind of, you know, like, oh, I would vote, you know.
Oh, yeah. You just didn't think it was something that you could participate in at all.
I treated it like Gamergate. It was just a bunch of, like, idiot, like, internet funny nonsense. But everyone cared about it.
Yeah.
I distinctly remember.
You were the only
What?
person I ever knew who was following the fucking the Obama second election.
Because it was funny. Like,
Yeah.
dude, he said the binder is full of women, and I laughed.
That was the funniest thing.
Also, Obama's just a cool guy. I liked seeing Obama on TV.
I distinctly remember I had this conversation with my mom when it was like the primary time, right?
Yeah.
And I am a Bernie bro.
Yeah.
I like Bernie Sanders.
If I was ever
I
to
think-
vote, it would be because Bernie was nominated.
Exactly.
That's the
think
only condition.
Bernie was the only person in 2016 who had even a snowball's chance in hell of winning that election at all.
Yeah.
Bernie Sanders is like that. Like, him winning was the good timeline. We are on the dark timeline.
His name would be Burger Sanders.
I told my mom that I was like, I just like Bernie's politics more. And she was like, why don't you want a woman to be president? And I was like, what? I just like Bernie's politics more. And she was like, well, I'd like to think that someone's daughter could be president someday. And I was like, all right, I guess I'm dropping this conversation.
Whenever I think about Bernie Sanders, I only think of him in the last election. I don't think about what I thought. I don't remember what I thought of Bernie in the 2016 election.
I didn't know anything about the 2016 election outside of the fucking memes and that, like,
I think I only really started following the 2016 election after it was already, like, Trump v. Hillary, you know?
Yeah. In the 2016 election...
Name a more iconic duo. The original Goku and Vegeta.
Oh my god.
Except they're both the bad guy.
Just like Goku and Vegeta.
Like, I can't think of a worse lineup for an election, to be totally honest. Like, I am straining to think, and it's like, no, I got nothing. I have no fucking idea how those two ended up against each other when they're both comic book villain tier evil. You know?
You can't, like, you could not have written the 2016 election better. I know, this is unrelated. This is just Goku and Vegeta. Have I ever mentioned this difference between the English dub and the Japanese version?
Yeah.
Where at some point, I think it was like back when like Vegeta was first being introduced as like a villain, you know, like not like an apathetic, like he's kind of a bad guy, but he helps the good guys sometimes. Like he was villain, you know, he wanted to kill Goku, you know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
In the English version, they have like a big showdown, and like Vegeta gets away, you know, and he's like, "I'll be back, Goku." I don't know what he actually says. I didn't watch Dragon Ball Z, but like the English Goku is like, you know, I just didn't think he deserved to die, you know. I could see good in him, you know, something like that. And in the Japanese version, everybody's like, Goku, why the fuck did you let that guy get away? He's a fucking psychopath. He's gonna come back later and he's gonna kill you. And Goku in the Japanese version is like, well, I knew that if I didn't kill him right now, then he'd get stronger in the future, and I'm looking forward to that.
Oh my god.
What did he say in English?
He was just like, I see good in him.
He was like, I don't think he should die, you know?
Yeah.
Oh my god, okay. Let me know if I should, like, if we should censor this guy's name and, like, switch it out with a different one.
Yeah, right.
Do you guys remember Michael?
Michael, no.
It's a generic
he
enough
was
name, we
like-
don't care.
Yeah, it's too many Michael.
Okay. Oh, you're right, yeah, there's too many Michael. That's actually funny because the story... That's funny because the story actually ties into that exact fact. There was this guy, so at the proto group, we were literally in middle school, and we were just eating lunch together.
Yeah.
That's like the roots. I think the only way you can go earlier is me and Sayu went to a computer camp together.
Yeah.
And that's how we met. Was like that, like we were just like in the same computer camp.
Huh.
And
I think that might be
Sayu was
doxing
just
us.
like,
Not many schools had computers yet.
Is that
We're
true?
not that old.
Our district was like fucking poor, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was, yeah.
Holy shit!
Especially that middle school.
Every single one of our schools sucked like so much.
They were all crumbling. All of them. Oh my god. Like, this is unrelated to the story I'm telling, but in high school, there was a hall that, like, the heaters would just turn on in, and sometimes it would raise the temperature to almost lighting the building on fire, and they couldn't do anything about it. It was, like, unreal. Anyways, so we were like eating lunch in the courtyard at this time period.
Yeah.
And the courtyard was like way smaller than like the cafeteria, so it was way more like closely watched by like the one or two teachers that were in it. And like there was this guy who would sit next to us. I don't want to, like, paint him in too negative of a light. He was, as far as I could tell, part of the special needs program.
Yeah.
But it was probably for a lot... It was probably more social than, like, mental to be... Or than, like, what's the word? For, like smartness. You know the one.
Intelligence?
Intelligence.
Or like
yeah,
it wasn't like a learning disability. It was like a social thing.
Yeah, exactly.
He was just a rude boy.
He was very rude. He would, like, sit next to us every day, and none of us liked him. Just none of us. And, like, he would be... It's because he would, like, insult us and be, like, super rude all the time, right?
Yeah.
And we'd tell him, like, we do not like you, go away. And he just wouldn't. And eventually there was this other guy named Michael who would show up.
Yeah.
And he was, like also not very fun. He was, like, not a very good person, right? But, the two Michaels did not get along at all. They would, like, fight actively at this, like, lunch table all the time.
Yeah.
And, like, eventually, like, we figured out as a group that the two Michaels took the same route home. And we figured this out because the more special needs Michael claimed he was being followed home by the other Michael. And he brought this up to the school, which then put, like, a pseudo restraining order on the two of them. Which led to a strange arms race of trying to get the one Michael to the lunch table first before the other Michael could.
That kind of reminds me of some... you keep talking.
Yeah. That was, like, one of my most distinct memories from middle school. Was, like, this, like, weirdo, like, quick, we have to get this guy to the lunch table, like, now. We'll go and buy him his lunch if he wants. I don't remember how long that actually went on for, but until, like administration stepped in. Before I left the school, most likely. But I do remember the one Michael did, like, end up going to the same high school as me. And there was this awful interaction I had with him. Where, like, for whatever fucking reason, one of the options for eating lunch at this high school was literally just sitting on the floor in the hallway. Like, you just pushed yourself up against a locker, and you sat on the floor. And, like, that was how you ate lunch, was you sat there like that. Yeah. And, like, that's how I ate lunch my freshman year. I don't know why. But basically, I was waiting for a couple of my friends to show up, and this guy, you know, this Michael showed up, and he was like, hey, I remember you. And he, like, fucking cornered me. He was, like, standing over me, like, yelling at me over and over again, and I was just, like, fucking, like, trying to space out and not think about what was happeing.
Yeah.
And that was just, like, an experience I had in a school.
This is kind of unrelated, but just, like, the like, pseudo restraining order thing kind of made me think about, like, there was a couple times when, like, in middle school, and I don't have a lot of memories from middle school. Yeah. I kind of feel like my life literally, like, my consciousness began when I was, like, 13.
Your consciousness began at that one night when Sayu invited us over for like a sleepover.
Yeah, like, you know, like when somebody was like, "Hey, have you ever heard of Project Diva?" That's like when like the
me.
neurons finally activated. Yeah, I know
It
you.
was me.
Of course, it was you.
Yeah.
I knew it was you. But there was at least a couple times when somebody followed me home from school, and
Oh my god.
this kind of reminds me of like those, like, you know, there's a couple funny moments with regards to being followed home from school, because I remember the only time I had ever like gotten physically violent with somebody was when this guy would follow me home literally almost every single day. Like, to my house.
Oh?
And I don't know what his deal was. There was, like, a group of kids that would follow, like, way in the back, and then there was one that would follow really close to me. And I was like, I've just gotta fucking go home. And I would be like, stop following me, you idiot. But every single day... Is it against the terms of service to say the N-word? He would call me, "You're white." All right.
It's okay, people at home. His brains just works different.
He's on
All right,
the.
I'm gonna cut all that out because I don't need
Yeah.
you yelling when they can't even hear the word. But like, yeah, he would say that to me literally every day, and then eventually I was just like, "You're white too, you idiot," and he would just keep saying it. And at some point, he started like getting closer to me, so I just fucking grabbed him. I just grabbed him, and then he started fighting me, and then like I kind of threw him on the ground, but also didn't let go, and so we just started like rolling around, and so he like stopped following me after that.
Oh my god.
But this reminds me of another time when I almost got violent, and this is a funny story because it was like this kid would always make fun of me, and this was in like 6th grade.
Yeah.
He would always make fun of me like all the time, and I can't even remember what he would make fun of me about, but probably a lot of things because I was kind of on the spectrum, and like I had funny hair and like lots of things.
Yeah.
And at some point, I remember, like, I was just like, I hate this guy so much. He, like, said something to me. I can't even remember what. And I just go to throw a punch at him. I go to throw a punch, like, directly into his face. But I had, like, a brief moment of clarity, and I was like, violence is not the answer. And, like, I stopped the punch, and he got really mad at me after that, because he thought it was, like, made you flinch thing, and he was like, I'm not scared of you. Like, he kept making fun of me after that, but I kind of didn't respond anymore. But, like, internally, I had, like, this anime moment where I was like, no, I'm better than that. I'll never fight people.
Bro, our middle school had such a fucking bullying problem.
Well, that's the thing. It was like there was so many. Not only were people bullies, there was a lot of physical fighting.
Yeah. No,
like,
I
there were
remember.
many instances of people getting into physical fights, and you know, it would be the talk of the town. You know, except
Yeah.
not the town; it'd just be the talk of school.
Yeah.
Remember that one guy, like in high? Oh wait, no, you didn't go to our high school. I keep forgetting.
I did not.
There was
I
this
did not.
one guy
Sayu.
in our high school who, like, was semi-infamous for just being fucking unhinged. Like, he would be the guy who would, like, kill an animal and then, like, leave its dead body on people's cars.
What?
That was a real guy. Did you not hear about that guy?
What?
He eventually
Okay.
ended up getting sent out of the school.
Look, I know that your guys' school was, like, the bad one in town, but, like, Jesus fucking Christ!
Was this at
This is
our high school?
This was at our school.
Oh
the,
my
the
God.
high school or the middle school?
The
Our
high school.
I don't remember this even. What the fuck are you talking
Do you?
about?
No. I wish I could remember the guy's name, but it was real. Like, ask the other guys.
Oh my god. Oh my god, what the fuck? Oh my god.
There were so many fucking, like, violent psychos where we went to school, dude.
No, it's true. We were on, like, the, like, awful end of town. Like the school, like I literally transferred away from like the school line that I was going through.
Yeah.
Because there were so many psychopaths. Like, I don't, like, oh my god. I was bullied relentlessly throughout middle school. Like, non-stop. All the time.
In high school, I was bullied a lot less, but in middle school, I was bullied, like, super hard.
Yeah. What the fuck? Like, oh god. I'm trying to remember specific instances only to discover that, like, I'm blocking them out actively as I'm trying to think about them.
I remember...
There is one that happened in that fucking middle school, though, that was, like, super bad. That I do remember most of the details to, because it shows how fucking incompetent all school administration is.
I remember I got bullied a lot in elementary school.
Or at least that school's administration.
I got bullied a lot in elementary school, and then one person from that kind of like continued to bully me all the way up through high school, and it was kind of funny that like all the other bullies that weren't that one person kind of each individually approached me at some point throughout high school and middle school and said, "Yo, that's kind of fucked up." it's just like all the other bullies just kind of like, yo, what the fuck?
You know, what should we call? I want to talk about when I met, and I'll censor that too. Don't worry.
Yeah.
What should we call him?
Voldemort. I've already given him that name in this podcast. Voldemort,
yeah, okay.
He who shall not be named.
You've given the she who will not be named Voldemort.
Yeah.
No, she's Baltimore.
Yeah, okay.
All right, we got Baltimore
and Voldemort.
Yeah. All right. So resume.
Yeah.
Yo, I actually I'm sorry, I have to go
What?
in like 15 minutes. So if we could actually wrap this up a little bit sooner, actually.
Oh shit. Well, I was
God.
just gonna say.
Yeah, tell the story.
It wasn't like a story. I just wanted to say, how did I become friends with that person?
I think it's because you became friends with me, and then I was already friends with that person.
Okay. Also, why were you friends with that person? Because
family.
I remember like the relationship, but
that later.
Oh.
I also remember like when I was friends with him in middle school. Like, he was one of my bullies, you know? Like, I didn't like him. I was friends with Jonas Brothers.
Yeah.
So, this is a weird one, because I noticed this immediately and did not put up with this person.
Yeah.
And anytime he was brought into a group dynamic, every single time someone would ask me, yo, you want to be involved in this? And I'll be like, no. Why do you?
Convenience. We just didn't want to split up friend groups.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like, why? He bullied everybody. Like, I don't think there was ever a good thing I heard about this person. Ever.
It's complicated.
Yeah, I don't actually know. I think it was like mostly my fault that he stayed in the group for so long.
Yeah, I
Sayu.
feel like if you just didn't want to be friends with him, then like most other people, at least early on, would have just been like, get out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is an interesting person.
You know, I had some of the best arguments in my life with them, though. They were a really good argument partner.
Well, I'd say that wraps up the school episode. In conclusion, school bad.
I
haven't posted the last episode yet. Fuck.
All school is bad. Don't do your homework. Don't flunk your classes. It'll be funny.
Don't go to college.
Yeah. Go to college if you have a very specific need for college and know exactly why you're there, and also have the self-discipline to handle it.
Yep.
And are very emotionally resilient. Otherwise, just, become a YouTuber, dude.
Yo!
Just be a freeder.
Personally, I get all of my advice from podcasts on the internet with less than
Yeah.
20 subscribers.
Dude,
Yeah.
I have to
anime
re-listen
fans.
to the PCP school episode.
From lefty
Yeah.
anime fans.
Oh god.
Dude, don't call me that.
Bro, how could you call me that? What the fuck?
I'm sorry.
I'm too black-pilled to be truly lefty.
All right, well that's all for the episode. Goodbye.
Yeah, alright.
Oh, wait, we have no comments.
We don't have comments. I haven't posted the last episode.
Oh my god. No voicemails. Shit. Oh god, we're flailing. Goodbye.
Bye.